I am thrilled to have on the show with us Smriti Irani.
25 years ago, I was called a part-time politician and a full-time actor. My father, I said, I'm going to live the rest of my life as somebody's wife. 17 years as your daughter. I said, when do I get to live for myself? First job was on the streets of Delhi in a place called Janpat for $200 a day. Taken a loan from my dad. He said, I'll give you 1 year. And if you can't pay me back, marry whoever I tell you to marry.
I think I would love to be a fly on the wall in your home. What is it like to be back as Tulsi?
Everywhere I would go, they would say, you're a crappy actor. Male actor was getting paid more than me.
Tulsi today could say something to Tulsi 25 years ago.
Get a better paycheck. In 2004, fought my first election. I was 27. There's no education, no academic adventure to understand hardcore politics.
Have you ever felt that you had to choose between being liked or respected?
Very angry editor shouting on my phone, Arnab Goswami, what is wrong with you? Come out and
Are politicians supposed to be good diplomats?
In this modern world, you have to be your own CEO, CFO and intern.
The Portion Tracker app.
And that was me.
Exactly.
8 million children who are severely, acutely malnourished. Built it in 1 month. I was there in the opposition when the Nirbhaya case happened. As somebody from the BJP, 2 men at the helm made sure that the reservation happens for it.
Right.
Nobody knows this. Let me break the biggest myth. That's never happened in the history of our country.
Indian women were among the first in the world to exercise the right to vote, well before many Western democracies actually granted full suffrage to women. And in India, we have had women hold some of the highest constitutional offices: Prime Minister, President, governors, chief ministers, something even the large democracies in the West have not seen as yet. And yet at the same time, when we look at true representation, the numbers remain very limited. In our parliament, take both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, women's representation hovers around 14%. And when you look at the state assemblies, it's even less, under 10%. And I personally think that we have very few positive role models. And today, we're very fortunate to have one of those role models with us. Hello and welcome to All About Her, a space where we have honest and meaningful conversations about women's health, wellness, happiness, and self-care. And today, we will be discussing women in public service. We are very, very fortunate to have one of those role models with us. And normally, as you know, on the show, we have the format of a phenomenal woman and an expert who gives us valuable insights. Today, I'm excited to tell you that we have our phenomenal woman and expert rolled into one. And I am thrilled to have on the show with us Smriti Irani. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. And I have a bunch of questions, which I'm sure you've been asked before.
Fire away.
I will fire away. In the interest of time, my first one is, of course, that you are now back to acting. And you've called yourself a full-time politician
and a
part-time actor. So what's it like in your part-time job?
It's fascinating how life comes full circle, because 25 years ago I was called a part-time politician and a full-time actor.
True.
And I think that when my political and media journey began, I began my media journey in the year 1995-96. Now at that time I was barely out of high school, and it was not a very, very nice place for women to be in.
Yeah.
My father specifically asked me, are you a dud head? And I said, why? He said, only people who do not have enough capacity to be academically inclined or to do something better in a professional or private sector would want to opt for media. He said, why have all the people, would you, who's been surrounded with books, want to do anything in media?
And within media, it was journalism.
I actually started from Delhi with just the intention of wanting to live my own space and my own life. I was very, I think, blunt with my family when I told them. I said, particularly my father, I said, I'm going to live the rest of my life as somebody's wife. I have lived a good part of my 17 years as your daughter. And I said, when do I get to live for myself? It sounds very Yash Chopra-ish, as though, there's a DDLJ scene and, chhod dijiye pitaji. But this was one of the, I think, hard facts about life. I decided that instead of just beating around the bush, the idea was to have a straight-up conversation. I think the tone with which I had that conversation indicated to my parents that this is the respect I show them to hear their point of view, but this is something that I've already decided for myself. In Delhi, the atmosphere was such that everybody knew everybody. And if you wanted to become somebody, you had your parents give you a leg up.
Yes.
I come from a very, very modest, in fact, financially challenged background. And I knew that for me to become something or somebody, it was essential that I do it on my own. There were people around me who thought it was quite foolish because it is not easy to begin from scratch.
Were those family members or?
I'm the first girl in the family actually to go out and work. And my father, in fact, was flabbergasted. He said, "You were absolutely all right till now." I have two other sisters. He says, "What am I to make of them? Because suddenly you're this rebel who wants to, lead a professional life." Because before that, I was this introvert who would just read books all day and never speak to anybody. I was not the regular girl who would hang out with other girls or go to birthday parties or even paint my nails for that matter. The first time I put my lipstick on was when I was a Miss India finalist. So my father said, "Why on earth would suddenly this change happen in this girl?" But this is something that I'd contemplated over a period of time. And I think my grandfather, my Nana's death had a huge contribution to that thought process. I had seen him live through a phase where he was adamant that Smriti will make something of herself. And everybody else in the family thought that, he's being diffident for no reason, he said. He was very, very clear that this is not a girl who you marry off to somebody. Allow her to study, allow her to, carve out a place for herself. There was talk about me sitting for UPSC. And my father said, you don't have the temperament to take orders from anybody. And he said that it's not going to be fruitful because my mother's side of the family did have certain serving officers in various verticals. My grandfather had served in the Navy. My dada, who died before I was born, had served in the Indian Army. And he says, you do not have the temperament to take orders. And that's why I didn't set foot into any academy to study for the UPSC exam. I had a fire in my belly when I saw journalists on television. I said, I need to do this. I landed up at a television network's office, 17 or 18, and they actually shooed me away. HR said, what's wrong with you? I mean, you're a kid. And I said, no, I need to do something. I think the idea that drove me was to do something where my parents had the least bit of interference, had absolutely no knowledge of nobody. And media was that space where they knew nobody. So it became a very natural choice for me.
And was there somebody that you took as an influence? You said, okay, this is my role model?
No, I never had one of those fancies. I wanted to first work, so my first job was on the streets of Delhi in a place called Janpath, where I was selling cosmetics for $200 a day. That's again around the age of 16 and a half, 17. And from that, I wanted to basically test my capacity. How hungry am I for either a job or what is my ambition? I was in that space at that time. And I think I predominantly grew up with my grandfather. So there was this whole patch of him dying and me left twiddling my thumbs wondering who's...
How old were you when he passed away?
I was like 13. So those 3 years were very difficult for me because suddenly that whole center of support goes. And as every teenager goes through that whole churn, you feel that, there has to be somebody who validates this crazy idea you have that I can be independent. And the one person who could validate that had passed away. And I think after that selling cosmetics, there was this whole aha moment because there's a lady who bought something from me and she walked away and she came back. She said, do you know why I bought this from you? I had like no idea, but thank you so much. She said, no, you know how to speak. You speak well. So for me, it was like, oh, maybe I can get into marketing and sales. So I went, I spoke to my father who was running a courier company and I said, can I work with you? So just to toughen me up and I think he basically wanted to wean me off the ambition. He said, fine, you have to go to Nai Delhi railway station and go to Nai Delhi bus adda and go to Gol Dak Khana and go to Palam airport and with other men on the job. I was one of the first 3 women in the entire industry, 32 years ago. And he says, you need to do this. And I think he kept waiting for me to say, I give up. I just didn't. And I would do those rounds. I would write manifests. I would take calls from, people who were hunting down where the package is. Till one day I said, which is the toughest station? Now, 32 years ago, Bombay then, was a tough nut to crack because you had a union here.
Yeah.
And New Bombay was an area which nobody went to. I said, I want to go there without, any parental support. I worked here. I set up offices here. I set up my father's logistics system here. And then I was, I think, audacious enough to tell him, I need to buy a part of your business in Bombay out.
Wow.
And he just looked at me, fine, cough up the money. And I had none. So I thought that if I am to work, and at that instance I realized that everybody said I was successful because of my father's daughter. And I felt that that would then be a dead end for me. And nobody considered the fact that this is a girl who has set foot in logistics 32 years ago. And I realized it would be futile to just kind of keep going at it. So I came back to Delhi, and I think he was relieved till I just quietly filled, the Miss India form.
I think I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in your home.
No, and I think I still remember that phone call at the dining table. He was seated. We had this place in Basant Kunj. It was a rented flat, and the call came, and somebody else picked it up. They said, "Why is Times of India calling?" I was like, "It's for me." And they're like, "Why would they call you?" And they just wouldn't give me the phone because, there's a hierarchy in such families which are conservative, that why should the girl take the phone and who are you? And there was a lady on the other end. She said, can I please speak to this girl, Smriti Malhotra? And they said, but why? They said, no, she's been selected. They said, but for what?
Oh God.
We are calling from Femina Miss India. And there was a bombshell. And my father just lost it. He was like, what are you doing in a beauty pageant? Have you looked at... I think my sister started laughing. Because they said...
Your sisters are younger than you.
Yeah, they're younger, but they just started laughing. Everybody started laughing. They said, but you don't even, wear color-coordinated clothes.
And where's this
just bunch up your
ambition
hair.
come from?
And I said, because you can't fix the race. I said, you can't fix the competition. So he had an office assistant, and that office assistant was told, okay, fine, go with Smriti. She will lose, and get her back home.
Right.
And I would do one round. And she would dutifully say, Chale, and I would pack my bag, I would go, and Times of India would run after me, no, you've gone to the next phase.
Right.
And I was like, oh, have I?
Right.
And that happened quite often. And the assistant got fed up. She just called my father. She said, I think, sir, something is, this kid is not feeling. I still remember Pradeep Guha was alive then. He was the person. He said, come here, kid. And he said, can you just stand? And I'm like, yeah. And then he started talking to me about current affairs.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you have to answer questions on news. I said, then I'll win. But that was my first kind of introduction to media.
Yeah.
Because for me it was like, oh, all you have to do is compete and your talent will make you stand out.
Right.
And then you should know things about current affairs. That was my mind space then. Till I landed in Mumbai and I saw the pageant, I was like, oh, okay, current affairs, no.
Yeah.
But I think what it gave me was an exposure that I never had before. To be alone in a competitive world where beauty mattered. I also realized that that was not my cup of tea. The exhibition as a model was not my cup of tea. So
you wanted to do something that had more.
I wanted to do something which fueled me. And you need a certain discipline to look good, to present yourself. I had none of it. And I think that mercifully then I had taken a loan from my dad because he's like, I mean, who's going to pay for this? I'm like, you are. He says, fine, but you have to give the money back.
Pay me back.
So we reached an understanding. I still remember the night I lost. I called him to say, मुझे Videocon का washing machine मिला है. Now think back, this is 1998.
Yeah.
A washing machine, Videocon used to be this glitzy ad. It was a big thing. I said, I've got this gift in the pageant. And I said, this is the total value of it. So can we just... I actually made him deduct it. And he humored me. So fine, but you still have a huge load of money to pay back. So I said, no, I'll work. He said, I'll give you 1 year. Work. And if you can't pay me back, marry whoever I tell you to marry.
Wow, I would ask you so many questions about whether you think this was like the right motivation for you? Was it like, you know, because that
I
relationship between father and daughter is
I think you have to
so
understand, this is a person, my father was bereaved when he was a young, 7-year-old kid. You know, he himself
he
lost his parents. And he was the youngest in his family. So he had nobody to kind of guide him or show him the way. Fell in love as a youngster with my mother. He was from the Congress party. My mother's from the RSS. So I was like, this had divorce written all over it. And that too in the emergency. You know, that's the worst time. I was like, who falls in love in the emergency if people are getting, you know, hassled? But I think he spoke from his own insecurities. He didn't want me on the streets. And you need to understand that about parents. I think you also understand it when you age yourself.
Of course, it takes a while to get there.
Yeah, it takes a while. But there was some kind of an understanding because I'd seen my parents go through that whole phase and financially I'd seen their struggle. And also there were a lot of shadi ka rishtas from very, very financially refined families.
Suitable.
So everybody in the family said, why are you making your life so difficult? Just marry the right guy who has, you know, the money to give you a comfortable life. Now they are speaking from their experience of having gone through hardships.
Right.
And to pay off that loan, Bandra Linking Road had the first McDonald's ever. That's where I worked. And even that job was so weird because in Churchgate in Mumbai, I finally got fed up of doing the rounds of, you know, Nataraj studio and all the studios of the world where I wanted to get some acting because I was told during the Miss India finals that, you know how to act. I'm like, acha. You know, you're comfortable with the camera. So
like,
these two are acting. Yeah. So I said, acha. So what do you do when you act?
Right.
I said, no, you can do ads.
Right.
I think because I'm not going to do ramp shows. It just made me very uncomfortable.
Right.
So they said, you can act. And everywhere I would go, they would say, you're a crappy actor. So
in auditions and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal, you know it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And I was just counting the days. I didn't give a damn when people say, oh, you're bad. I was like, oh God, I have 1 year.
Yeah.
And the clock is ticking away. And I realized, I mean, I had my last, little money left. I went to Churchgate. I said, let's get a job because in between jobs, I'll go and audition. And I still remember there was a Jet Airways, the airline company, an ad out for flight stewardess. And I was like, okay, I'll do this. And it's got a good salary package. And there were many people in the acting world who were doing both. I went there, the guy just looked at me and said, you don't have the personality. I said, okay. But because I was waiting the whole day to just have my turn at the interview, I realized that the next door interview was McDonald's. So I went there and I asked them, I said, do you have a job left? I'd like to, kind of interview for it. And the person there said that, just the last rung is left. I said, what is that? I said, well, the person, who kind of mops the floor a little. I said, do I get to say welcome to McDonald's? They said, no. They said, that's the next rung. I said, Acha, now what do you do in this rung? So they said, you clean the dishes and you swap the floor. And maybe, you have that paper sheet that they put on the tray.
Trays.
That was my job.
Right.
So they say, you get to do this. I said, how much is the money? And that was like, what, $1,600, $1,500. But you get a burger, you get the break, you get the food. And I was like, done.
Yeah.
Done. In between, I will do.
But this is all part of the bigger plan, which is to then presumably act.
No, just a paycheck. Just pay my father back.
Pay your father back.
Yeah. I had no such ambitions that I'll be some Meena Kumari or
but financial independence, and you understood financial independence means the ability to make choices.
More than financial independence, I think I just wanted to succeed. I was very clear. Yeah. I'll be a success.
Yeah.
Now, I had said this since I was 7 years old, and my mom was like, what makes you think that, you're being so... And I was very effusive about it. I'll be, one day watch me. And she's like, how?
Yeah.
I mean, look at your circumstances. I said, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But they will talk about me. I still remember when I first came to Mumbai, my mom was with me. And there's a Kamala Nehru Park in town.
Yes.
And I went, there's a shoe-shaped thing in the park. And I thought that this is... now if you look at it retrospectively, it's like this whole Kate Winslet moment in Titanic. And looking at the whole Queen's necklace. And I said, one day this city will know me. And my mother would just whacked me. Say, you need to come back to reality. Why do you think this will happen? I said, I have no idea.
But it's so amazing that this can happen. These people, a lot of people think that these are dreams that have no legs.
I was not iffy about it. I was very clear. Hoga.
Yeah. And then so much has happened since then.
Yeah.
And that's what I started with to say, is that you have achieved so much. And then, of
It
course...
doesn't feel like I've achieved much. It's like, अच्छा अभी मुझे कुछ और करना है. Now everybody in the
That was my
family
question
like,
number
please.
16. Question number 16 is कि अब क्या बाकी है? But this was just the beginning of what is it like to be back as Tulsi? And as a character, does it have any kind of, I don't know if you're allowed to say, does it encapsulate some of your evolution as a woman?
I always kept the characters close to the real me as possible, in terms of the emotions or the stance, or the only difference is I told Mr. Irani that you don't get as lucky as Mr. Virani. Where if you cheat on me, don't think I'll sit there and do puja of yours. That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, but I think that in terms of certain positions that the character took, tonality and all that, I kept it as close to reality as possible, that too in a drama setup and soap opera. But 25 years ago, we did do stuff on marital rape, on domestic violence, on euthanasia, on adult literacy. So it's not as if we were regressive. I was too busy, didn't have the time to defend it, and it was incumbent upon the production house, Ekta, and that's who got, kind of loaded with that kind of a pushback. I think people don't realize that what you see on screen, if not for a documentary, is actually make-believe. And I don't know why people think that make-believe has to be real.
Right.
Because if it was real, people would not watch it.
Right.
So there has been a segment in the industry which has sold some scripts in the guise of, oh, this is not make-believe, this is very real, which is what has led to this kind of division. I think for actors it was always about whether a story or a character makes sense. In terms of the reprise, I think what is important now is the understanding that your audience has changed, and the understanding that now the medium has changed as well. 25 years ago there was no OTT. 25 years ago there was no 10:30 slot, people went to sleep. So we kept them awake, we created the slot, we made that time a prime time.
Right.
That in itself was an achievement. But do remember, 25 years ago to have a female producer was also tough. Today movies talk about pay parity, but 25 years ago we set that bar there. And when I came in as an actor, the male actor was getting paid more than me. But I was very conscious that, okay, you have to prove yourself, you're a new kid, prove yourself, and then make sure that then your talent gathers that worth financially from your production house, or the channel pays, vice versa. So I also left at the peak when I said it's okay to very ambitiously and loudly say I'm the highest paid, because women were always told don't talk about, don't flex that muscle, and I was like, hell with it. And today I'm still proud of the fact that in terms of pay parity, in terms of female production head or producer, on also how she's going to create the character and the circumstances around her, she will make sure that it has a contemporary reflection.
Do you get involved with, like, if you feel like this character is saying something
I think
in terms of dialogues and writing?
Yeah, I think that the best part is that there's an understanding that it's a partnership. And actors deliver best when there is a sense of contributing to whatever comes to you as a scene or as a story. If you have somebody who is very closed, then you don't give a brilliant product. Any product or any project where people can work together, including technicians. I mean, there are times when I would ask an assistant or a technician to say, do you think this sounds right? There are times when you're using colloquial language. I would actually go hunt for those people in my technical team to say, one of you, are you from that background? Can we sit and kind of, they would get involved. And I think that's what determined our success, that we didn't get siloed into our roles. Marketing, programming, scheduling, makeup, technician, camera, everybody would talk to each other.
And you bring your real experiences to the...
You do, and that's how we stayed consistently #1 for 8 years. I mean, we touched a TRP of 31, which is unheard of. But we did that because none of us were very, I think, entrenched in the fame part of it. We were very proud of the product that we were giving. We were proud of the legacy that we were creating. Very focused from that perspective.
So now how will you manage your time between your part-time and your full-time job?
I was always, I mean, at that time I was doing not only politics, I was raising a family, a young one. Now the nest is empty, so it's not as if, you know, I have crying babies to feed. Politics is something which is a service. It's not a post, it's a way of life. You can't say I'm off duty right now. I mean, I'm in Mumbai right now. So if I find somebody who says, Tai, I want XYZ done, can you help? I can't say, no, sorry, I'll go back and go to my station and see whether I can help there, I can't help you. So I will get calls to say, Didi, आज वो मैं छत्तीसगढ़ से बोल रहा हूँ, ये नहीं चल रहा फला फला. Yeah, I would get a call from Ranchi and say, अरे मेरा किसी ने ना दीदी टैंक साफ नहीं करवाया, आप उसको जानते हो, आप उसको फ़ोन कर दोगे? I say, yeah. So as a politician, I've seen the whole expanse. You would sit with colleagues to say, even if they're from the opposing party, that fine, we want to do some research. Do you think this is, you know, something that you have some research on? So it's a 24/7 thing. But there are politicians who are academicians, who are journalists, who are in the private sector, and we get to our jobs. The only difference is that I have a camera on me, that's it.
The transition, was that also something that you planned to, I mean, of course you must have planned it when you decided to join politics.
I joined politics in 2003 formally.
Like you said, okay, now with this bang I can say that I'm the highest paid actor, and this is a comfortable time for me to move on to something else.
No. I was the USAID WHO ambassador to India between the year 2000 to 2002, which meant that when you're working with the WHO, I was working on child and women's health. You cannot take a political office and make it all political, because you have to work across all verticals and irrespective of ideologies with everybody. You speak for the woman, for the child, you speak on health, you speak on behalf of WHO. So you cannot get your political ideologies involved, because I thought it was not a kosher thing to do. And when I finished my stint with the WHO, I had the privilege of introducing ORS with zinc in our country. At that time, every year 5 lakh children were dying because of just bad water, because of diarrhea. So my focus was very clear that can I contribute to stemming this? Can I create more awareness about it? In fact, WHO and the government post it, which is the Congress government, they actually did a study on it, and it was found that yes, beneficial impact was seen, because you have to inform people that the solution is very readily and easily available. So after that, in 2003 is when I formally joined politics. I was also in this Maharashtra belt in Talasari, Dahanu, working on village water projects. So whatever I would make as an actor, part of it would go to do water projects in certain villages. And those are Naxal affected belt. And I had the late Gopinath Munde, he told me, he said, you can keep doing any amount of social work. What is the penultimate goal? I said, the penultimate goal is to make a difference, possibly through policy. He said, then you have to be a part of electoral politics. And that's when I became a part of politics, the BJP.
And do you think you being a recognizable face was an asset, or was it in any way
a horrible disadvantage?
A disadvantage.
Because everybody presume actors have presented themselves as though politics is the last thing that they do. It's not something that they progressively do while at the peak of their career. It's not something where they go to the grassroots and work through the grassroots all the way up. Most actors are parachuted because of their popularity.
And then they'll just become a Rajya Sabha.
Yeah, I was not one of those. So when I came to active politics in 2003, I was a youth wing member of the BJP in Maharashtra. My batchmate today is the CM of Maharashtra. And my other colleague, the president, is the Minister of Education now, Dharmendra Pradhan. But even that time, I remember my colleagues saying, "Arey yaar, actor ko kyun de diya? This is a serious political position." I wanted to be in the trenches with my colleague and gain their respect, because I knew that I was in it for the long haul. And I worked my way through grassroots work, then became the state secretary in Maharashtra when Nitin Gadkari became president. I worked with 5 BJP presidents, Rajnath Singh ji, Nitin Gadkari, Amit Shah, JP Nadda, and at that time Venkaiah Naidu ji was the president of BJP. I, in 2004, fought my first election. I was 27. So I can very safely say been there, done that.
Yeah. There's so many, questions. For example, if somebody wanted to become a leader in politics, a young girl, I wanted to ask if they are, like you said, you were drawn to this. You were introduced to developmental work as an actor, and then you
I was not introduced to it. It was
WHO
something that I picked.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I picked.
I just thought how, because a lot
because
of
then you
people-
get to see the expanse of your country. You get to see the health systems very up close.
Right.
I think people think politics will happen to them.
Right.
You have to happen to politics.
Right.
It has to be the other way around.
And are there things that you would advise people to do as stepping stones in terms of,
There is no framework which says do cut.
like if you do this course, if you do this kind of education,
no.
if you meet the
There's
right
no
people,
education
if you work at the
course
grassroots level.
There's no education, no academic adventure you can undertake to understand hardcore politics.
Yeah.
For that, you have to first understand what is the ideology that you like to uphold. What is your framework of contribution? You have to have that conversation with yourself first. For that, you need to understand that you will never know everything. You have to be a constant learner. The other aspect is people think that, oh, I'll meet an XYZ person who's a current leader and then become a politician. Doesn't happen. It's a very tough job. You are available on phone or available in person 24/7 because people don't come to you for entertainment.
Yeah.
They're genuinely stuck on some issue. Nobody has the time for another human being,
Yeah.
let alone a politician. The only time they'll approach a politician is if they're genuinely desperately in need of support.
Right.
Do you turn away people at that time? Say, hey, mera kaam nahi hai. You can't.
Some might.
Then they don't last that long.
Right.
Because politics, and especially politics in this country, is a matter of service.
Yeah.
You have to be extremely grateful to get the opportunity to serve. I've had the opportunity to serve 3 times. That's a privilege. In a country of 1.4 billion people, it's a privilege, and you should know it's a privilege and then respond to your parliamentary or constitutional duties accordingly. I knew what a great privilege it is.
When you joined in 2003, do you think, of course you said, for example, it certainly wasn't an asset being who you were.
Because many actors before me had not conducted themselves as though they were worthy
Right.
of the privilege that they got.
But
Very rare.
As a woman, I want you to understand.
It's bad enough that you're an actor.
Yeah.
The woman is a double whammy, then
That's
you're
true.
young also.
So I was going to say the challenges of being young, inexperienced, a woman, an actress. Were there any instances that you found challenging because of that? Any instances of sexism or people saying, "Oh, not being taken seriously"?
There is this huge conversation around media and politics as though they are the fulcrum of sexist behavior. Neither in media nor in politics have I faced that.
Right.
I don't know, there's something about maybe my disposition. But even when I was a nobody in the media business, and I think not many people know that I even had a stint as a stringer, as a journalist, I never faced it.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it's something of a vibe that I give off.
It's interesting to know because, it is something, as you said, people generally assume that in this male-dominated world, this young person will come and then will be perhaps attacked in all these different ways.
No. I think the attack against me, where an attack is sexualized, happened when I became minister. It didn't happen before that. The opposition, and especially people who want to curry favors with, let's say, an opposition leader, would have very vile attacks on me. But by then you're so experienced. I mean, I'd spent 20 years. I was like, it's being done to distract. It is being done to reduce your work. So you need to be smart enough to respond to it.
Yeah. Have you ever felt that you had to choose a time where, for example, you had to choose between being liked or respected? Did something like that ever happen?
I've never made that choice. I don't think that I have ever given validation from another human being that much of importance. I know how futile that is.
Yeah.
Be it politics or my personal life. I have never sought validation.
Who in your family are you like?
Nobody.
Like who else? But
I'm
where does it come from?
Everybody's asking me that. Nobody. I'm like nobody in my family.
Do you think it came from just Being exposed
I
to
think that
things
when
you
you're
read
alone
and
as
just
a
being...
kid, no, I think when you're alone as a kid, and like I said, to lose my grandfather must have been one of those moments where I realized that if I'm so dependent on just his presence, just that pat on the back, and he's gone. So I have the rest of my life. So I'm attuned to thinking like this, that, oh, okay, there's nobody. So do you wait for that somebody to come along? Because then your life is about that wait.
Right.
Somebody an economist in fact, dare I say, has said this, that in this modern world you have to be your own CEO, CFO and intern.
Right.
I think I realized that when I was a kid.
Yeah. There were some people who said that your style, your way of talking came across as arrogant. Now, I feel like I wanted to say, of course, we are all used to people saying anything. There's freedom of speech. You read your comments on Twitter, on Instagram. I don't know whether negative comments get to you or not.
No, I see everything. Every word. But I don't in any way deny them that space. I'm very blunt, which is not something which is celebrated when you're a politician.
Yeah.
Even in the media business, you're supposed to be nice enough to never speak the truth.
Are politicians supposed to be good diplomats? Are you supposed to be diplomatic?
The question should be, is being diplomatic helping the constituency and the country? If it does, by all means, be that. When we go internationally to present ourselves, can we be abrasive in the face of vicious attacks, diplomatically so, on our country? No, you have to be smart on your feet and kind of weave your way around it. So it depends on what job has been assigned to you. So if I am representing my country and somebody who meets me is not very kind, I have to think, what is the cost my country will bear if I do not behave appropriately and diplomatically so.
2019 was a big deal.
No, my whole life has been a big deal.
Well, life is a big deal, but I'm saying having joined politics, for the world, it was a big deal.
No, I was very clear. If anybody picks up any of my interviews between 2014 and 19, there was this stoicism with which I said, oh, I'll win 19. And if you pick any interview of mine between 2019 and 24, you will only hear me say, well, whoever is getting the seat from the BJP in Amethi, they will do the best and try and beat Congress. I never spoke about, I will do this between 19 and 24. But I was very vehement about what I said between 14 and 19.
What do you think happened between 14 and 19 to help you secure that?
I think that we all presume that it's all us. It's not. Sometimes also destiny. And what are the chances of somebody coming from out of nowhere, from the streets of Delhi and landing up and then working for 5 years and then defeating the national president of the Indian National Congress? That's never happened in the history of our country.
No.
I think they didn't see me coming.
They took you lightly.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Now they saw me coming.
Yeah. How did you spend that day when they were counting votes? And
in 19?
Yeah.
Listening to music.
By yourself?
Yeah, in my room.
And antsy, edgy, asking people like, what is the count? No?
Everybody was on the table from 5:30 everybody ran, 6 o'clock everybody on the table, and they said, Didi, aren't you coming? I'm like,
yeah. No?
No, because I knew what I'd done.
And
so I just put on some music. I think I heard the music till 2, 3 in the afternoon. Around 4 o'clock, I think Rahul Gandhi gave a statement, and then I had very angry editor shouting on my phone, Arnab Goswami, what is wrong with you? Come out. And and Arnab is somebody who was a part of my TV journey, because we used to fight the establishment that did TRPs. We were very, I think, agitated about, we said it's being faked, blah, blah, blah. So as young TV personas, we were, fighting the good fight for the larger industry. So I think he is the only one who would have the audacity to call and literally shout, come out. I'm like, oh. No, but I think that, I'm very eclectic in my taste, but I think he shouted, then other people start banging on the door and they come out, speak. I'm like, why, but let it get counted. And they were like, why are you so stoic? I think that side of me really irritates a lot of people. They're like, you're so centered. Why? Aren't you excited? I'm like, no. I think it's important for me to just reach a particular goal that I'd set for myself and then just walk. Yeah. You should not get so trapped with the jubilation that you don't see the next step. I'd very early in my life read Rudyard Kipling's If.
Yes.
I think I'd ingrained it So I was like, oh, theek hai.
I'll keep
So
my
I
head.
came out. I went out, and there's a photograph of me peeping in and asking the DM. I said, Sahab, ho gaya aapka counting? He said, nahi madam, abhi chalega lamba. So the opposition kept taking objection out of objection, and people like, we have to fight this. I said, no, aram se ginte raho. I said, so nobody interfere. Let everything get let everything get recounted 2-3 times. I don't care. Count. Then at 12 o'clock in the night, they said, count is over and you're won. I said, thank you, I'm going. I told the team that was also working, Karyakarta, I said, go and take the certificate. They were like, you know what a big thing it is? I'm like, yeah, take the certificate. I'm catching a flight, going home, seeing my kids and going to sleep.
Sweet.
So I went home.
And you slept?
I didn't even see the headlines the next morning.
Wow.
I believe I was on the front page, but I didn't see anything.
And then after, I'm saying that, again, because you've had so many interviews, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So many important portfolios, becoming like the youngest union cabinet minister, working so closely with the prime minister. So many things that people will not be able to do in their lives. I mean, it's a unique and very special life. I know things in your time that I thought were remarkable, that things that you may not have initiated, but that you fought for amendments for. But touching on just a couple of them, for example, because you talked about malnutrition earlier as well, the Poshan Tracker app.
That was me.
That was you, exactly. Yeah. That was you. So how, when that came in, the difference that it made to children in...
When I became the minister, I was told that there are 8 million children who are severely, acutely malnourished. And given my training by the Prime Minister, I said, show me the numbers and show me the evidenced position on the numbers.
Right.
Somebody from UNICEF said, oh, but this is a supposition. I said, you are shaming my country on a supposition. So can we start collecting data? They said, how will you collect data? I said, well, the Prime Minister said, every Anganwadi has to be digitally connected and everybody has a mobile phone. So they said, but what will we do? I said, okay, I'll create an app.
Yeah.
Bill Gates was kind enough. He said, fine. The Gates Foundation said, you want to create an app? I said, I want to create it and then dedicate it to the country, give it to the government. And they coughed up some support, built it in 1 month, sat with, So I said, you pick your engineering team, you pick your platform people, and we'll sit together and let's see what we can get done. We built it in 1 month. It had it deployed in 2 months. Today it has 100 million beneficiaries, 2.2 million workers, 1.4 million Anganwadis. And in April this year, the Prime Minister gave it the Best Innovation in Governance Award.
That's amazing.
Yeah, 3 months.
People talk about the digital divide in India.
Oh, it was it still is a great governance tool, because I would call a particular state and say, listen, आपके यहाँ पे ना 9,000 आंगनवाड़ी आपने खोले नहीं हैं, खोलना है कि बंद करना है ताकि I stop paying you for it. नहीं, खुला हुआ है. So we could track how many hours somebody spends servicing the needs of women and children in that particular Anganwadi. We could track the height and weight of every child, and if one child did not conform to the WHO standard, we would alert the medical community. The CMO would go look into that child. They'd be rushed to the Nutrition Resource Center. So we set up a very seamless system.
Even when it came to the LPG schemes, I wanted to ask if there was perhaps any instances, because you work so closely on the grassroots level.
I actually saw most of it flourish even in my own constituency. See, before I came to Amethi, around 60 to 70% people didn't have electricity.
Right.
Before I came to Amethi, I didn't have a CT scan machine or an X-ray machine. In any of the district hospital didn't have that. I helped build the collector's office there, the chief medical officer's office there. So I had to begin from scratch. By the time I was done my service in Amethi, we had 1 lakh homes built, 3.5 lakh farmers connected to the treasury. We had 1.5 lakh women who got the LPG connection. Close to 80,000 families that got electricity connection for the first time. I built the first 200 bedded women and child hospital there. Brought in the first CT scan. Boeing was kind enough to donate it. What else? Oh, I helped build the first medical college there, the first jail there, police line. Then 4 or 5 labs for farmers. And yes, I managed to get an airport under Udan scheme, along with cleaning up of nallies. So everybody would, kind of, if I pass through a village, they would say, Didi, wait, I have this problem with a nalli. Can you call somebody, get it fixed? So while you're building all that infrastructure, Amethi was never connected to the national highway. So my good colleague Nitin Gadkari, I'm like, sir, I need, highway passage. And he said, okay, fine. Right. I need a ring road. Okay, fine. I think it's just the joy of building something for somebody else, not for you. But imagine 1 lakh homes means at least 4 people live in one home.
Yeah.
To give 4 lakh people a roof over their heads, that is joy.
And that idea again, I'm saying, even when it comes to banks and doing the Jan Dhan
we
scheme.
had the largest Coca-Cola factory in South Asia open up in Amethi. And the Russians helped open up, in collaboration with the government of India, an AK-203 rifle factory. So that's what gets, it's the supply for the Indian Army. The rifles of the Indian Army come from Amethi now.
And because we're talking again about money and how important it is to have financial independence, the Jan Dhan scheme also, 55% of them, women,
500 million, 500 million Indians opened an account.
Yeah. And so
of which 240 million were women. Then I saw Mudra open up. Mudra had 300 million loans given out. 70% of the beneficiaries were women.
And you were encouraging women and telling them the need to have their own
Swanidhi
separate
right now,
money
which
from
is
husbands.
all the, how do I say this, hawkers, street hawkers, out of which 6 lakh women have gotten loans.
Yeah.
So we used to collect small, these cohorts of women. Self-help groups for 9 crore women receive like 8 lakh crore rupees from the government straight into their account. So in your constituency, you would give out that money. In your constituency, you will get that hawker to sit together and say, kitna paisa loan mein chahiye, kaise chahiye. So you see lives being built around you. I think there's no greater satisfaction than that. There is nothing, no adulation that you can get as an actor, which is comparable to the satisfaction you get out of building homes and lives.
I wanted to touch on one of the other ones, which was the prevention of child abuse. I think, again, even when I was a student, we would learn about international relations, and there was a subject on gender and international relations. And this concept, or this conception that perhaps women in positions of power would be against the death penalty, and that we might be...
That was a stated position of my party. So I was there in opposition when the Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Bill was passed, and I spoke on behalf of the opposition and the then government. I was there in the opposition when the Nirbhaya case happened, and again midnight we were legislating on it. I was in Rajya Sabha. Again, I had the privilege of speaking for all political parties that night. I think that it is a process which I saw unfold before me. In 2014, when Prime Minister Modi took office, not a penny had been spent. So when I became Gender Minister, the officiating capacity that my ministry had, we said, what all does the Prime Minister envisage out of the Nirbhaya Fund? We had 700 plus one-stop crisis centers set up across all districts of our country. We had 1,068 fast-track courts set up across the country, of which around 440 courts were only for children. And close to 2.5 lakh cases got solved in it. Forensic science labs opened up, rape evidence kits distributed. At every police thana, we had a women's help desk which came through. What all have we done? 35 helplines for women. Over 20 crore calls answered, tracked. Even if they would repeatedly, somebody would call, it would get tracked. We set up the first ever Samvad program to help caregivers of children who were in conflict with law and they were living in those children's homes. 7,000 such. We actually ensured that all of them, we set this, I set this legislation in place where we made pornography digitally punishable under law. There is a lot one could do, and that's why I'm saying that the adulation you get as an actor is nothing. The fact that you're of value to your country, to your people, that some kid will get the protection of that law. For instance, I was on set today and somebody in scheduling was running around. I'm like, kya ho gaya? They said, no, we have to take a child actor So we have to go through this process and they have to get a psyche eval done. And I was smiling. They said, didn't you write the... I said, yeah, I did.
I wrote the book on this.
Yeah, I wrote the book on this. To tell men at work that if you want to intervene and tell something to a female about, let's say, somebody's wearing a dress and a male colleague on set wants to correct something, you have to actually stop them to say, listen, don't make any verbal such indications where you in any way besmirch the lady or cause her any grievance. Suddenly everybody around you is mindful that, oh, acha, we can't do this. So your experience as a politician comes handy even in this place of work, where as a technician you can tell people, fine, if you're in trouble, these are your rights and this is the benefit or this is the support one can garner for you. Be it from an insurance perspective, some technician falls sick, or if a technician is hurt at work. So that is a body of work that gets now reflected within the industry. How can I protect the rights of those who don't have a fancy paycheck? But now with me around, people in production who otherwise would be a bit stern are like, "Arey bapre, she may just unionize them." So
no, I think it'll be incredibly valuable to have you on any set, including this one. We have had women at the top positions of power in this country, but still representation there's a gap.
How do you evaluate that gap? The Global Gender Gap Index report speaks about this whole value that they bring to what is political empowerment of women. I've contested it at the World Economic Forum and I have a letter from them. I had it as a minister because they would show India in bad light. And I said, give me the matrix of computation, which is, they say, oh no, we look at women in parliament. Hogwash. They look at the women who are cabinet ministers. They don't count the women who are in the council of ministers under the prime minister's leadership. They don't count women who are ministers in state governments. They don't count women who are elected to state legislative assemblies.
I thought these were the ones where they said it's 10% in state assemblies.
No. We have 1.4 million women as we speak today who are elected to panchayats. Because the minute you start counting the 1.4 million women, forget the only women in parliament, only women in legislative assembly, just the volume of 1.4 million women from India puts India at the top. So just because others don't have this decentralized constitutional hierarchy to serve in, our 1.4 million women get counted out. Now it is extremely difficult to fight an election in a panchayat because the voter base is smaller. You are indigenous to your constituency. It is much tougher there because you are coming from the rural ramparts. Imagine that tough election, winning it and still not getting counted. Today you have close to 1.9 crore women who are in administrative services in our country. 60 lakh are only those who are Asha and Anganwadi workers. They don't get counted as harbingers of power, as administrative and obviously as ordained by law, effective partners in the growth of our country. So the issue that we need to ask, and I've asked this of the World Economic Forum, is if you don't count us, if we are not spoken of, does that mean we are not resilient enough or powerful enough? If you look at the Finance Commission, the Treasury had tied money that goes from the Treasury to the Panchayat on the basis of gender spend. That is something nobody talks about. Not many countries, I feel that maybe India is the only country which has tied the funds from the Treasury to the Panchayat on gender. But never gets spoken of.
So what did the letter say? What they sent you?
They said they'll fix it, they haven't yet. Because to fix it, you have to find other parallels to our democracy. There are none.
But it's still important to have that 33% legislation.
No, but it got passed.
Yes.
I've seen the struggle of 2.5 decades by women across political lines who wanted to make sure that the 33% legislation passes. I was witness when Rajnath Singh ji made it 33% reservation for women within the BJP possible. I think what for me as somebody from the BJP is of great importance and a matter of great joy is that two men at the helm made sure that the reservation happens for women.
Right.
We've had political organizations where women have led them,
Right.
but they haven't done this for the women.
But I want you to spell out for some people why it's important to have that
Because it gives you an
representation.
even playing field to compete. That is what you need right now. A legislative compulsion to give that opportunity just to compete. We don't have that right now.
And do you think that increased representation of women will change the national discourse in some way?
It is being evidenced through research. Wherever women have constitutional or administrative authority and control over spend, their spend on education, health is far greater. Their spend on public infrastructure is far greater. Their savings are far greater. Let's say just Mudra.
Right.
Okay? Before Mudra came, everybody spoke about the lack of money, especially for those who are from very, very financially challenged backgrounds. That even if they wanted to be entrepreneurial, they wouldn't have access to credit. Because for credit, you need collateral.
Right.
So Mudra took away that burden of collateral. And the minute women landed up, it was not a gendered financial intervention. Mudra had no that you have to give the loan to women. No.
Right.
It's women from the smaller towns, villages who created a business plan. Now the numbers look great, but just imagine that singular woman from a village or a town or a slum made a business plan, went to the bank, explained to the bank manager or any official what her business is all about, gets that loan, services it and pays it back. Okay? If you look at the NPA today, for women-owned businesses, the NPA is less than 2%. The NPA for male-owned businesses in that segment is 2.5%.
Right.
So women have not only proved that they are financially prudent, they've proved that they are financially responsible, but women in our country have made a financially evidenced case for women around the world.
Right.
So I believe that these are things which are not spoken of. Because for too long we were the country where people would just pat us on the head and say, "Theek hai, you know, ek din theek ho jayega." You came from a fragile economy, now suddenly you're the fourth largest. What do you think the top three are going to do to you? Hug you? No. They're going to elbow you out.
Right.
So they are going to kind of try and undo a lot that you've done to create a national confidence in what you are as a country. And they will hit a lot of such verticals to say, how do I minimize the impact? Let's again reflect on another truth which cannot be denied. Remember COVID? We did not have a vaccine. There were countries that were running out of toilet paper.
Yeah.
We made sure that our vaccine program was on an app called CoWIN. But we not only administered that vaccine to 1.4 billion people and 2 doses, that's not an easy feat, in 644,000 villages in a country which is as diverse as us, geographically as diverse as us. We managed to do that, and then we sent that vaccine to 160 countries.
Yeah.
It's not an easy task.
From all the various projects, initiatives, is there one that was closest to your heart?
Every one of them.
And is there one story that
every
stays
one
with
of
you?
them. I see so many families woke up to me. I used to be Minister of Education. I had the privilege of writing the base document for the National Education Policy. So I have kids, and I used to write letters to kids who did well in the 10th and the 12th board exams, teachers who were very supportive, children who are divyang, who are differently able. I meet many such people. Randomly I was standing someday just trying to get into my car. Somebody ran from a pani puri wala thela and said, "Didi, I am from Amethi." मेरे यहाँ पे ये काम है, मेरी माँ वहाँ पे है, आप एक फ़ोन कर दोगे, आ जाओगे, ठीक है. I walked into your studio today.
Yes.
I don't know anybody from Adams.
Yeah, I know.
How the Gujju started speaking to me in Gujarati.
Yeah.
And
they always speak in Gujarati to anybody.
Yeah, but I'm not a born Gujarati. My Dadi is a Maharashtrian, my Dada is a Punjabi, post-partition came to Uttar Pradesh. My Nani is from Assam, my Nana is Bengali. And I have a Parsi husband. But the minute they all saw me, there was bonhomie as though they all knew me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the greatest joy about being me.
And
anybody can pick up any. You and I first met on an airplane.
Yes, I know. I remember when I messaged you, I said, I hope you
But
remember.
nobody knows this.
No.
But one of the first people that I interviewed 30 years ago was your brother.
Yeah. I know.
So my life is pretty strange. There is genuinely evidence of 6 degrees of separation.
Really?
But I do meet a lot of people who have...
And even today you keep that grassroots connection alive. How? Like,
I have no idea. Isn't life beautiful just when you're approachable?
I like to be approachable, but I mean, not everybody
I mean,
does.
I didn't know you from Adams.
No.
You saw me on a street in London and we could just wave to each other. My family looked like, you know Soha Ali Khan? I'm like, nope.
No.
I don't. Like, why did she... So is there something about you that makes people comfortable?
Yeah.
And I think if you have that trait, that's a valuable trait. You should keep that.
How many hours at night do you sleep?
No idea.
You don't
But
like-
it seems my cameraman says when I sleep for only 2 hours, I look better.
That's not true.
It is.
That won't last.
I don't know, but it has till now.
And do you have some kind of like self-care?
No.
You're like, what? What is that? What do you mean self-care?
No, I think as you
Because
grow
you look
old-
amazing, I want to say.
Oh, thank you, that's all makeup. But
I know
as
makeup.
you, I think as you grow older, you enjoy your silences more.
I love my silence. I love my alone time. I love all of that. I don't know how much me time you get, but
No, I just like the silences at times. It's lovely to watch. I love to see people thrive. I love to see people happy.
I want to ask, again, because your life is, there's so much to talk about, your proximity to the Prime Minister, to work with somebody that most people will not have a chance to meet.
Let me break the biggest myth.
Okay.
There is nobody close to the Prime Minister.
But the ability to perhaps
So everybody anybody that you ever meet who says how great a close relationship they share with the Prime Minister, they either don't know the Prime Minister or they're outright lying. He's somebody who left home and hearth for a larger purpose. He has never picked up people who then don't become effective enough to serve that larger cause. For him, it's very clear, I have one life, I want to give back to my country, that's it. So he doesn't entertain or he doesn't indulge people just for the sake of indulgence. What I've learned, I've worked with him since 2002, 23 years now. He teaches you how to work at the details. You better know your job, and more so if you're working with him. Because he has an elephantine memory. He will remember what you said on that topic in 2007, what you did in 2016, and he would just look at you and like, no, I don't think so. So you don't want to be in that space ever. In my 10 years of working with him as minister, and I'd worked, if you look back, my 2 opportunities of serving in Rajya Sabha were courtesy him. He's very clear. I mean, I still remember the first time I filled my form for Rajya Sabha, there was just him, me, Mr. Irani, and we were sitting and like, acha kya ho raha hai? And every other candidate had dhol, tasha and this whole entourage. And he just looked at the 2 of us and said, tum dono hi ho kya? I said, haan, we 2 log hain. I said, chalo, let's go. Suddenly he gets up and he says, I am nominating you. So there's this hush in the corridor. He goes, says, haan, chalo, sign the papers. You sign. Okay, congratulations. Okay, all the best. Go. I go, he leaves for his office. By the time I get to Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar is his office, I get to Ahmedabad, there's a knock on my door to say, listen, lady, these are books you have to study, these are the issues you have to take up on behalf. So he's very, very focused. He's very focused. आपको ये काम करने के लिए रखा है.
And one learning, one...
How to work.
And through example also.
Dispassionately. He doesn't get very infused with emotions. He's very, very clear. No favorites. Doesn't forget faux pas at all. So that's a tough taskmaster. And if you're with that taskmaster for 10 years,
you become good at your job.
Yes. You become sharp as hell.
Tell me about this era of politics. There's a lot of, for example, direct access now. People are on Twitter, people write directly to their constituency. I mean, it's good.
I mean, for too long, people in this country were told, right, what to do, how to do. Now, I think social media has democratized access to power, which is good. No politician should ever forget that this is a service. It's not a privilege for you to enjoy. It's not a safety net. It's not comfort. If you don't want to serve people, please don't take that seat and don't waste the people's time. This is the country we are serving.
I want to ask you about this.
Yeah.
I haven't finished it, but I'm reading it because then...
But isn't it well written?
It is...
Sorry I sound pompous, but it is well written.
No, it is so well written, down to the acknowledgements at the end also, which I really enjoyed reading. Many questions again, but...
It's a thriller. People expected you to write something either political or poetic.
Exactly,
or
but this is edgy, this is fast-paced, like
thriller.
Who's done it, and you're reading it, it's a page-turner. But do you feel like sometimes... you said it was also driven by, you went to a press conference, you got very angry by some of the insensitive comments that people make, pushed you to write this story, and then you felt that fiction was necessary.
Yep.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
I think that I have this great affinity to those who wear the uniform.
Yeah.
And I feel that in a country where people pursue power and politics, where people pursue money, where people pursue fame, those in uniform only pursue service. They know that their valor may be celebrated or go unnoticed. They sacrifice their lives. We may think of them on the 15th of August or on the 26th of January, or maybe when somebody is bestowed a medal. Otherwise, can you imagine knowing that you may be forgotten, but still going to serve? So I wanted to tell the story of such people who serve absolutely unnoticed in some of the toughest terrains in our country, who die, become a small headline. This was my way of saying thank you.
And in the acknowledgements, you said that you felt the need to write a fictional story.
I can't, in a constitutional position, given my responsibilities, write fact. You know too much.
But it then liberates you, and you're able to say things.
No, the story was waiting to be told for 10 years. I just had to say it. That's it.
So it brings me back to, I think it was my first or second question, so it brings me back to the beginning where so much has been done, and you said you feel like you haven't done anything. So what do you feel you would like to do next?
I have no idea. I just know that whatever it'll be, will be to the best of my ability. That is the only thing I can assure you of. I think ambitions transitioned from wanting a roof over my head and 2 meals a day with the security of a paycheck the next month to now having that security and wondering, should I be asking for more? So what I seek is an opportunity to serve. Today I serve at the crossroads of both politics and media. I'm the only person doing it. Forget the only woman, only person doing it. I'm mindful of the fact that I'm the first one from the industry who has served as education minister and written the education policy. That's never happened in the history of our country. When COVID struck, I'm the textile minister who, India never had a PPE kit industry. I helped create the industry when the country's back was to the wall and there was this huge global challenge. And in 3 months, we became the second largest exporters to the world now. That has been my contribution. What I've done in television is obviously marked in history. But like I said, if you ask me, 2003, did I know I'd do all these things? I didn't. I think the one thing COVID taught us was like, no matter what you plan, you need to respond to God's plan.
That's true. And you need to be able to just adapt.
Just be grateful when you wake up the next day and say, okay, can I make this better for somebody? That's it. That's the ambition. And can I be better than me? And can I make this day a bit better for somebody else?
And just lastly, because now you find yourself acting again, you do have a voice as an actor also. So do you feel
which may not align with other actors' voices at times.
But I feel like you'll be heard.
Yes, but I think that what are the voices that are not heard? The sound technician is not heard. The camera person is not heard. Hair and makeup is not heard. Junior artists are not heard. Mainstream actors do get a voice.
But will you amplify their voices?
Yep.
Like you did today.
But they are very much, we get seen, right?
Yes.
But they are doing the hard work.
And lastly, if you Tulsi today could say something to Tulsi 25 years ago?
Get a better paycheck.
Yeah. Get a better paycheck is a good one. And I think you have.
I did.
Thank you so much for giving us so much of your valuable time.
Thank you.
And really sharing some amazing insights. I'm so honored to be in this conversation with you. And I really do feel that we have very few role models when it comes to women in positions of power.
Don't say role models. Men and women have feet of clay. So it's your responsibility and mine to say, if you're looking for role models, look around in your own families. Look at your mother, look at your father, who may do much for you and never get seen. See them, be grateful they're in your life. Some people have complicated family lives. Doesn't matter. Be grateful, glad that you're alive. That's it. Stop looking at other people as idols. You may find some right there in your family.
Thank you so much, Smriti ji. I was really excited to have this conversation with you, and I feel that everyone at home would have really benefited from learning about real experiences working on the ground, some valuable takeaways, I think, of anybody who has aspirations to join public service and to perhaps give back to their country. Leadership is actually built over years of hard work. It takes continuous learning, and it's very important to, as you said, stay connected to your purpose and to have that sort of clarity. I hope today's episode leaves you at home as inspired as I am. I do want to thank you for watching another episode of All About Her. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we will see you soon with another remarkable story. Until next time, stay informed, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon.